So here we go. We are running live. Today I want to discuss about ego to its entirety. Not ecosystem, ego. Yeah. Huh. You mean you meant ego, not ego. Anyways, today I want to know about ego. Okay, it's about psychological sense, and let's see. Pride, identity, insecurity. Yes, all of these. Yeah, you said ego, pride. You said ego, pride, identity, insecurity, confidence. That's already tells me you're thinking beyond arrogance. Now let's anchor this in psychology. Hmm. Fred divided the mind into three parts. Idea. Raw impulses, desire, anger, impulses, ego, moral guilt, should. Okay, super go and ego, the meditator, the decision maker. Now here's the key. Okay. In psychology, ego is not pride. Ego is a part of you that says, I am this. It means your identity, your self image, your sense of control, reality, decisions. Now let me ask you something. If someone insults you, which part gets hurt? Is it your body or is it your ideas who you are? Of course my body. Of course my ideas. Idea of ideas. Of course my ideas. Yeah. Not your body, not your intelligence itself, not your ability. It's the idea of who you believe you are that feels attacked. The idea of you. Psychological ego. Now let's go deeper layer. If your ego is your self image, then answer this. Were you born with it or did it form from experience, parents, society, comparison, success and failure? Think slowly. Okay. Were were you born thinking I'm smart, I'm weak, I'm confident, I'm not enough? Or did that develop over time? Okay. When I was a child, I was completely dependent on my parents. So it's obvious to be become on parents, isn't it? So maybe that's how we use it to become, that's how we use it to become or develop this ideas of myself. Hmm. True, isn't it? Beautiful thinking. You are not just answering, you're observing. Yes, as a child, you were dependent and completely. Dependency means something very important psychology, and you learned who you are through other people. Now, when you were small, if your parents raised you, what ideas might form? If they criticize you often, what ideas might form? If they compare you, what ideas might form? If your parents raise you, what ideas might form? If my parents raised me, then it's obvious that they will always try to control me and tell me what to do, what not to do. Yeah. And the second one is if if they criticized you often, what ideas might form? It's obvious when they criticized me about something that I'm going to do. I feel like I'm not capable enough to do or perform the task. Maybe my self worth is not up to the task. Self worth is not up to them. Next, if they compared you, what ideas might form? If they constantly compared me with others, the initial ideas I will form is I'm not good enough, or someone is better than me, and maybe I'm not fit to this society or in this society. Okay, let's go step by step. The idea is simple but powerful. We see ourselves the way we think others see us. So the child doesn't say, I am smart. The idea is simple but powerful. We see ourselves the way we think others see. So the child doesn't say, I am smart. The child learns, they treat me like I am smart, so I must be. Now here's a deeper question. If your ego was sharp by external feedback, then is it your ego fully you? Soumya, live. Hmm. If your ego was shaped by external feedback, then is your ego fully you? If it's if everything was external, then if everything was external, then how come I claim that this very ego is mine? Damn. Yeah. Let's see. Two people are watching. I guess so. Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. The last line you wrote is powerful. If everything was external, then how come I claim that this very ego is mine? That's a real psychological breakthrough question. Let's slow this down. When your parents criticized you, compared you, controlled you, tell me what happened next. Did the criticism stay outside, or did you start repeating it in internal? For example, parents say you're not good enough. Later, you say to yourself, I'm not good enough. So here's a key shift. External voice becomes internal voice. Now answer me carefully. When the voice becomes internal, does it feel like their voice or does it feel like your own voice? Since I allowed myself to uh, listen to those words and take those words to my heart, then it's obvious that the sound they are making, like the comments they are making about my on me, then it slowly changes into my own voice, reflecting and saying to myself that whatever they are saying is true, therefore, I must be not good at these tasks, not good at those tasks. Let's see what he says now. Yeah, good. Very good. You are thinking clearly, but I'm going to gently challenge one sentence you said. Since I allowed myself to listen, pause. As a child, did you consciously choose to allow it, or you were biologically wired to observe it? Think about it. Yeah, child is true. When I guess when we are helpless, when we are as a child, we have parents have the total control. Then we does, right? We do. Sorry. So, were you biologically wired to observe it? Think about it. A child's brain is not built to question parents, it's built to survive through attachment. Yeah, true. And there is a psychologist named John who explained this through attachment theory. The core idea, the child depends on caregivers for survival. I also gave this images. Nice. Hmm. Wow. Secure. Okay. Four layers of attachment in relationship: anxious attachment type, secure attachment type, avoidant attachment type, anxious avoidant attachment type. Okay, let's learn about these things. A child depends on caregivers for survival. So the children's nervous system treats their words as true, not because you are allowed it, but because your brain was designed that way. Now here's the important shift. You didn't choose the programming, but you are now conscious of it. That changes everything. Now answer me this. If the ego was built automatically from absorbed messages, then what is happening right now when you question it? If the ego was built automatically from absorbing messages, then what is happening right now when you question it? What part of you is observing the ego? I guess it's my consciousness and awareness that plays a vital role in observing the ego. Since I am aware and conscious. So I'm not giving much importance to my ego, and my center is uh, not controlled by ego, because the wisdom is taking place of my center. Yeah, let's refine it carefully, not spiritually, but psychology. You said my consciousness and awareness observe the ego. Psychology would agree, but it might use slightly different language. There's a psychologist named Carl Jung who made an important distinction: outer world, persona, ego, self, shadow, anemia. So the shadow and person's ego, okay, and then in the middle of that there is self, consciousness and personal unconsciousness, collective unconscious and consciousness, personal unconsciousness and collective unconsciousness. Okay, ego is your conscious identity. I am this person. Self, the large totality of your psychic, including unconscious part. Wow. Ego is equal to your conscious identity. I am this person. Okay. Now here's a subtle thing. When you say I am observing my ego, who is that I? Is it another thought, pure awareness, a more stable identity, something else? Let's slow this down. Right now, when you notice I feel insecure, there are two layers happening. One, the insecurity. Two, the awareness that says, oh, I am feeling insecure. Which one feels more stable? The insecurity or the awareness noticing it? Of course, the second layer, the awareness that says, oh, I am feeling insecure. Insecurity comes and goes. Awareness notices it. The one that comes and goes unstable, the one that notices more stable is equal to more stable. Now, psychologically, if ego is your identity structure, your self image, and awareness can observe that identity, then ego cannot be the deepest center. It's a structure inside the mind. Now, here's a real question: when someone insults you now, does the pain disappear completely? When someone insults you now, does the pain disappear completely, or does it still arise but you notice it faster? Earlier, I used to see the pain and I used to defend it by using thoughts, and I'll attack back, just like how I'm reacting to the things right now. I won't say right now. Earlier, I used to react things. Earlier, I used to react more than I responded. Earlier, I used to react, react rather than responding. But now it does still arise, but you notice it faster. I notice it arise, but I notice I notice it even faster. Hmm. The pain arises, but I notice it even faster. True. Let's go. Okay, that's a real growth. Real growth. You just described the shift from reactive ego to observed ego. Earlier, pain, thought, attack, no space in between. Now, pain, awareness, choice. The small gap is psychological maturity. Let's map what's happening in simple terms. Someone insults you, ego feels threatened, myself is attacked. Pain arises, awareness notices. You choose respond instead of reaction. The gap between 3 and 5 is powerful. Pain arises, you choose respond instead of reaction. Now, here's where I want to sharpen your understanding. If pain is still arises, does it mean ego is gone? Or does it mean ego is functioning normally, but you are no longer blindly identified with it? Is the goal to destroy ego or to relate it differently? No, we are not trying to destroy ego. If we destroy ego, no, we cannot destroy ego. Our goal is not to destroy ego, because if we take away the ego, then the one who is saying I'm no longer ego is also ego. So I need to be very careful that what I can do is now I can shift the focus rather than giving full control to the ego. Then I can take charge of it in a better in betterment of myself. I don't know why this phone always going to pick echo when I'm saying ego. Yeah, here we go. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, excellent. Now you're thinking with precision. You just caught a very subtle trap. The one who says I have no ego, that is also ego. That's psychologically accurate. Now let's stabilize your understanding. If psychology, ego is not an enemy, remember, sigma for him, ego was necessary to help you function in reality, make decisions, regulate impulses, maintain identity. Without ego, you wouldn't even be stable to say I. So the mature goal is not ego destructive, it's ego integration and regulation. You said something very important. Shift the ego rather than giving full control to the ego. That's emotional regulation. Let me test your clarity with a scenario. Imagine someone says, you're not that intelligent. Old pattern, defend, attack, prove, argue. New pattern, aware version. What exactly happens inside you step by step? Okay, walk me through it slowly. First sensation, first thought. What does awareness do? What action do you choose? How stable your understanding is really. Okay, now it's testing me. Let's see. When I hear some kind of insult, I feel sudden movement in my chest. I have noticed many times Let's go to the second one, and it says first thought. Since we are not emotionally driven by those words, so our focus should be not our focus. Our mind's focuses more on responding it rather than reacting. So the initial thought would be, the first thought looks like a reaction, but because we have noticed that ego ego took place, so we feel it. So we might be responding it with consciousness. Consciousness, yeah. What does awareness do? Since we become aware of the total situation, we know more on to the reaction mode. We are not trying to defend or prove or try to take control of the situation. We simply see as it is. Okay, next one. If there is something that I can do, of course I will do, but not to justify my ego, just to see what is the best thing that I can do without arguing onto the point endlessly. Yeah, okay. This strong self observation. You're not speaking theory, you're describing lived experience. What you, yeah, let's organize uh, what you said psychologically. Yeah. Chest sensation, that's not ego first, that's the nerve system. When someone insults, body reacts, treats response activity, sympathetic system. Even body reaction, thought, ego interpretation. You are catching it at the body level. That's advanced awareness. Now let's sharpen something you said. Ego took place, so we feel it. Small correction. The feeling comes first. Yes. Yeah, true. Right. How can I miss this? Ego into explain comes in to explain the feeling. For example, chest tightness. Oh, sorry. Tightness. Ego says they are disrespecting me. Now here's where maturity shows. You don't suppress the feeling. You don't attack. You don't defend automatically. The pause, that pause is regulation. Now I want to test something deeper. When you don't defend your ego, weak, peaceful, or does it feel weak, peaceful, slightly uncomfortable but powerful, indifferent? Which one is the most accurate for you? Be precise, okay? When you don't defend your ego, weak, peaceful. Policies. Now I want to test something deeper. When you don't defend your ego, okay? When I don't defend my ego, will I feel weak or peaceful? Slightly uncomfortable but powerful? Indifferent. I'll go with B and C. What's the time? Two, okay. The combination is very important. Peaceful plus slightly uncomfortable but powerful. That tells me something specific. Peaceful. Your nervous system is not escalating. Uncomfortable. Ego still wants protection. Powerful. Powerful. You are choosing regulation over reaction. That discomfort is normal. Why? Because ego evolved to protect identity. When you don't defend, it feels like, are we losing status? Are we becoming weak? Are we being dominated? But here's the psychological truth: not reacting is not weakness, it is delayed power. Now, I want you to reflect carefully. When you react immediately, who is the control? You are the emotional impulses. When you react immediately, who is in control? You are the emotional impulses. And when you pause and choose who is control, answer that clearly. Okay, both me and emotional impulses. I'll go with me and my emotional impulses are responsible for the immediate reaction. Okay, good. But let's sharpen it slightly. You said me and my emotional impulses are responsible for the immediate reaction. Let's examine that carefully. In an immediate reaction, is there really a conscious me choosing? Is there really conscious me choosing, or does it feel automatic? Think about it. When someone insults you and you snap back instantly, did you calmly decide, yes, this is the optimal response? Or did it happen before thinking? Be precise. Immediate reaction is mostly impulse action, minimal conscious evolution. Now, second situation. When you pause, who steps in? Is it emotion, ego, or executive control? Rational regulation. In psychology, this relates to the prefrontal cortex regulating the limbic system. So try. Immediate reaction is called mainly. Pause and respond mainly. Okay. Nice. Emotional impulses. Second one, mainly me. Okay. Very good. Now let's refine the second one slightly. Immediate reaction, emotional impulses. Impulses. Pause and response to me. Now here's the subtle question. When you say me in the second case, is that ego or regulated awareness or rational executive control? Because remember, ego can also react. True. Let's break it down. Impulses, reaction. Limb system, threat, emotion. Calm impulses. Sorry, calm pause. Prefrontal cortex, regulation. So the me that pauses is not emotional ego. It's a regulated cognition. That's psychological maturity. Now here's a deeper challenge. If someone if someone insults you and you choose silence, is that always healthy? Or can silence sometimes be suppressed ego? Think carefully. What is the difference between conscious non-reaction and suppressed reaction? So when I say conscious non-reaction, it's basically in that moment I'm not trying to react based on my emotional impulses. I'm consciously deciding it. And second one, suppressed reaction. This can also be done with consciousness. If in that moment, if we don't want to argue a person endlessly, so we try not to act based on the situation. It is not suppression. You are thinking carefully, good, but we need to sharpen the distinction more precisely. You said suppression can also be conscious. That's partly true, but here's a key psychological difference. Let's define clearly. Consciousness, non reaction. You feel the emotion, you allow it internally, you understand it. You choose the most useful response. There is no residue afterward. Suppression. You feel the emotion, you push it down, you avoid expressing it, it remains active internally. It comes back later. Passive aggression, tension. Okay, now here's the real test. After the situation ends, okay, do you feel do you feel clear and stable, or still replying the insult inside your head? Hmm. When you choose silence in those moments later that day, does your mind revisit the insult repeatedly? Hmm. I'm shocked to tell this to you. Yeah, it happens not very much often, not much often, but sometimes, or let's say most of the times. Okay, let's rewrite this. I got it. Okay. If it's not a big thing about the conversation, it basically clear and stable. But if there is someone who is messing with me, maybe in that moment I pass the conversation, and later on my mind revisit and tells me that you should have told it this way, you should have said it. Why did you allow him to do that? This thought keep coming to my head, and I don't know what is the reason behind it. Can we explore it a little further? Further. Okay. Later on, my mind revisit. Yeah. Hmm. Okay. Excellent. Now we are entering the real psychological layer. You describe two outcomes. Small insult, clear and stable. Someone messing with me. Later, later replay plus self-criticism. The second one is important. Let's slow this down. When your mind says you should have said this. Why did you allow that? Or you should have handled it better. What is being threatened here? Is it your safety or your status, your self-image? Think carefully because rumination usually means ego feels incomplete. Psychologically, this is called unfinished defense. Your brain tries to restore status internally by replaying a better version of you. It's not random, it's the mind attempting to repair identity damage. Now, here's the key. In that, in that replay, are you trying to protect truth or are you trying to protect pride? I was trying to protect pride. That's honest right there. The psychological strength. Now let's slow this down and examine it carefully. If it's pride, what exactly is pride protecting? Is pride protecting your survival or your social image or your sense of dominance or your sense of worth? Because pride usually sits on top of something more vulnerable. Let's go one layer deeper. When someone messes with you and later you replay it, is a deeper feeling? They disrespected me. Others might think I'm weak. I failed to stand up for myself. I'm not enough. Which one hits closer? I'll go with this. Good, stay here. This is the core. You choose. They disrespected me. Others might think I'm weak. Notice something. Both are about social status, not survival, not physical harm, not truth. It's about position in the social hierarchy. How you are perceived. Now here's the psychological insight. Humans evolved in tribes. Being seen as weak could reduce protection, mating chances, influence. So your nerve system treats almost like physical threats. The chess movement you described earlier, same system. Now let me ask you something stable. If no one else was around, if it was a private conversation and nobody witnesses it, would the rumination reduce or would it stay the same? Yeah, when nobody's around me, there might be a chance that rumination would reduce. But inside me, that it might say that I should have, I should have been stand or handled it better. You notice two layers. If nobody's around, illumination reduce. But inside, I should have handled it better. That means this is not purely social status. There is another layer that separates them carefully. Layer A. Others might think I am weak. External image. I failed my own standard. Yeah, I failed my own standard. Now here's the important psychological question. When your inner voice says I should have handled it better, is that voice harsh and critical or calm and calm and corrective? Because those are two very different systems. Harsh, ego wounded, self attacking; calm, growth oriented, evolution. Think about the tone. If you replay the situation, does your inner voice sound like a disappointed judge or strategic judge coach? If the situation is harsh, or someone is treating me bad, or someone really messing with me, then the inner voice changes to a disappointed judge. If the situation can be handled without messing much with my mind or with me, if there is something that I can learn, then it becomes a strategic coach. It allows me to handle it allows me to handle it sorry it allows me to from next time onwards it allows me to handle it better. Yeah. Hmm. Let's see. This is psychological mature observation. You just identified two internal systems: disappointed judge, strategic coach. Now let's analyze what's happening. When it becomes disappointed judge, what actually threatened, not just pride, its identity. I am someone who should not be treated like this. When reality contradicts identity, ego pain intensifies. But when it becomes a strategic coach, something different happens. Instead of asking, was I disrespected? It asks, what can I optimize next time? The shift is huge. Now, here's a key distinction: judge is ego, defending status. The coach is ego, strengthening competence. Both are ego, but one is insecure and other is integrated ego. Now, I want you to reflect carefully when the disappointed judge appears. What is the deeper fear underneath it is? Is it uh, losing control, losing respect, being powerless, being insignificant? Losing respect and being insignificant. Losing respect and being insignificant. That's honest. Good. Now we are at the root layer. Losing respect, being insignificant. Those are status plus worth fears. Let's slow this down. If someone disrespects you, does it automatically reduces your actual competence, or does it reduce your perceived position in that moment? Think carefully. Is is respect something is respect something others give, or something you internally anchor? Think carefully. Is respect something others give, or something you internally anchor? Yeah. What I understood about respect, it is not what someone gives. It's about what are you capable of earning it. Respect can be earned, not wished. What someone, what I understood about respect is it is not about what someone asks. It's ask. It's about what what are you capable of earning it? Earning it, respect and be earned. Earning respect. Yeah. Now deeper question: if a person with strong internal worth is insulted, do they lose worth? If a person with strong internal worth is insulted, no, they are just they are just hitting on the image we have made for ourselves. Or does the insult only test their stability? What makes someone truly insignificant? Yes, when someone insults us, we become sorry, insults us. We come to know that are we still reacting or responding? What makes someone truly significant? What makes someone truly insignificant? When someone carries a self image with him everywhere, wherever he goes, When someone tries to insult that image, he feels threatened and destroyed. Their own internal collapse. This is high level thinking now. You said they are just hating the image we have made for ourselves exactly. The insult is not equal to damage to essence. Insult is equal to friction against identity structure. Now let's refine one powerful thing you said. When someone carries a self image everywhere and it gets attacked, it feels he feels destroyed. That is psychological attachment to identity. Here's a stable shift I want you to examine. Is the problem the ego itself, or it is over identification with ego? Of course, of course. It's when a person over identified with the ego, because remember, you need identity to function, but suffering increases when identity becomes rigid. Now think carefully. If someone is flexible about who they are, does disrespect destabilize them as well? Does flexibility create resilience? If someone is flexible about who they are, does disrespectful destabilize them as them? If they are totally aware of that, when we are over identified with the ego, it is inevitable that inevitable that they are going to hurt, since they are not since they are not aligned ego as their center to function. The wisdom takes place or verifies before reacting. Hmm. Since they are operating from the center, so they are much likely to be hurt from someone else, because they are seeing the total picture of who they are from the physical point of view. See the total picture of who they are from the physical point of view. Yeah, excellent. You are integrating things now. Let's tighten it. Hmm. Psychologically, not spiritually. You said when someone is not over identified, wisdom verifies before reacting. That's accurate. But here's a clean psychological framing. Over identified identification is equal to I am my image. Flexible identity, I have an image, but I am more than that. More than that. Wow. See the difference. Now let's refine one sentence you said. I have an image, but I am more than that. Okay, they are seeing the total picture of who they are. Psychologically, this means their self worth is not fully dependent on the external validation. That reduces ego fragility. Okay, now here's a powerful test question. If someone insults a very com, competent, if someone insults a very competent person and that competent person knows their competence deeply, will they feel zero pen? Or will they feel mild pain but recover quickly? Be realistic because emotional maturity is not equal to no pain. It is equal to fast recovery plus stable self concept. Yeah, I guess since he know about his competence deeply, there is less likely he'll be going to get affected by the situation. So I'll go with this. He will, sorry, the they feel mild pain but recover quickly. They feel mild pain and recover quickly. Yeah, that's psychological strength. That not no pain. Yeah, but pain doesn't destabilize identity, and it's true. Let's summarize what you have discovered today. You build this not okay. Ego is equal to identity structure. It forms through early attachment and social feedback. Insults trigger nervous system plus ego threat. Over identification amplifies pain. Awareness creates response space. Maturity ego is equal to flexible, not fragile. Strength is equal to quick recovery, not zero reaction. Now I want you to deepen one final thing. If recovery speed is a sign of maturity, what determines recovery speed? Is it external validation, internal confidence, emotional uh, regulation skill, or clarity and self worth? Okay, self clarity and self worth. Since we are no longer seeing and wishing from the outside, so external validation becomes less likely to touch our internal state. Yeah, since we no longer seeing and wishing from the outside, so external validation becomes less likely to touch the internal state. Yeah, that's been said. Internal confidence. Since we are not trying to uh, carry any image because we are saying the image is I am more than the image. So in that state, there is confidence, but confidence, but carry an image because we are not trying to carry an image because we are we are saying that because we are saying the image I am, because we are saying I am more than the image. So in that state there is confidence with clarity. Emotional regulation. Emotional regulation skill. The emotion becomes consequences of how we are being within. We are no longer trying to make any images, or even if we make, we are not stick to that because we are not the image itself. It itself, the image we create is past and it's already dead. So we are not clinging to it. Hanging to it. Hanging to it. Yeah. The image we create is the past and it's already dead. Dead. So we are not hanging to that. Hanging to it. Yeah. So emotions become a byproduct of how we live. It's no longer, we are not trying to control it. It just happens by itself. It's not reaction, since we are taking control of, sorry, not taking control. It's not reaction. We are operating from the wisdom and it's from the center. So the emotional turmoil is less likely. Impulses. Even if its response to the, if it demands, in the state of helping others in this from dangerous situation. Okay, now let's see. The the emotion becomes consequences of how we become, how we are being within. We are no longer trying to make any image, or even if we make, we are not stick to that because we are not the images itself. The image we create is past and it's already dead, so we are not hanging to it. So emotions become a byproduct of how we will how we will how we sorry, what is it? I hate it when it makes mistakes. It's a byproduct of how we see it, how we how we are, how how we are no longer, how we are not trying to control itself, trying to control it. We're not trying to control the product of it. We are no longer trying to. We are no longer trying to control. It's not reaction, since we are not operating from the wisdom. It's not reaction since we are operating from the wisdom and it's the center, so the emotional impulses are likely to see even if we notice its response to the situation if it's demands in the state of help others from dangerous situations. Okay. This is strong integration. You are no longer just analyzing ego, you are reorganizing your relationship with it. Let's ground what you said in clean psychological language. You choose clarity and self-worth, faster recovery. That's correct. Why? Because when self-worth is internal anchored, external insight is not equal to identity collapse. Yes, image attack is not equal to worth detection reduction. Emotional is not equal to command. Now let me gently refine one thing. You said we are no longer trying to control emotions. That's good, but psychologically we don't remove emotion, we regulate it. Emotion is information. Ego interprets it, awareness elevates it, executive control decides action. Executive control decides action. Okay, that's a full system working in harmony. Now here's a deeper question for you. If your self-worth is clear and internal, do you still need respect from others? Or do you prefer respect but not the dependent on respect but not depend on it? There's a very difference between those two. Which one feels accurate for a psychological mature person? Do you still need respect from others? Or do you prefer respect but not depend on it? I prefer respect but de- not depend on it. That's it. The sentence shows psychological balance. I prefer respect but I don't depend on it. That is healthy ego. Let's break it down clearly. Prefer respect, you value social harmony and dignity. Don't depend on it. Your core worth isn't outsourced. Now check something deeper. If you don't depend on if you don't depend on respect, then when someone disrespects you, what happens? Not nothing. Instead, you you assess, you decide if a boundary is needed, you respond based on values, not wounded pride. That's regulated ego, not destroyed ego. Now I want to challenge you with a one final layer. If someone repeatedly disrespects you, could a mature person stay silent always, explode eventually, calmly assert a boundary? Let's go with the D. Which one aligns with the prefer but not but don't depend mindset? Oh, tell me why. That's psychology. integrated response, not silent submission, not emotional explosion, but calm boundary assertion. Now let's make sure you really understand why. If it, if calmly assert a boundary, what does that communicate? I need to approve of I need you to approve of me. I respect myself enough to define limits. Think carefully because boundary setting is not ego defense. It's self-regulation plus self-respect. Now go one step deeper. When you assert a boundary calmly, is it about controlling them or regulating yourself? Answer that clearly. Let's answer this too. I go with it because I don't want someone to mess with me, which eventually make me go insane. So it's obvious to set boundaries, to tell someone what is allowed and what is not. I respect myself enough to define limits. Okay, I go with it. Now there are two questions. Is it when you assert a boundary calmly, is it about controlling them or regulating yourself? No, I'm not trying to control them. I'm just telling that what is acceptable and what is not. If you cross these limits, I no longer become quiet. I no longer become quiet. I'm not trying to control them. I'm telling that what is acceptable and what is not. If you cross these limits, I no longer become quiet. I'm not even trying to regulate myself. I'm just uh, keeping distance from the stupid people to make myself or make my internal state as calm. Unnecessarily, I don't want to get into the mess, so I keep limits and tell that limits to others not to violate it. Okay, regulating yourself. I'm not even trying to regulate myself. I am just keeping distance from the stupid people to make myself or make my internal state calm. Unnecessarily, I don't want to get into the mess, so I keep limit until that limits until that limits keep limits limit. I don't want to get into the mess, so I keep limit and tell others to not to violate. those limits. Good. This is grounded thinking. Let's refine it slightly so it becomes psychologically precise. You said, I'm not trying to regulate myself, I'm just keeping distance. Not but notice something. Why are you keeping distance? To protect your internal state. Yeah, that is regulation. Oh, there are two types of regulation: internal regulation and environmental regulation. Managing emotion inside. Second one, environmental regulation is changing your environment to reduce triggers. Setting boundaries is equal to environmental regulation. It's not control. It's not ego defense. It's strategic stability. Now let's sharpen one more thing. When you say, if you cross limits, I won't stay quiet. That can mean two different things: calm, assertive enforcement, delayed explosion. Which one do you truly mean? Of course, if I want to delay explosion, why would I wait and make my center and replace the center with ego to wisdom? And why would I not react then respond? So, of course, I want to be calm and assertive enforcement. The answer shows structural clarity. You're not trying to suppress and explode later. You're trying to pause, elevate, assert. That's mature ego functioning. Now let's tighten the psychological one final time. There are three unhealthy ego patterns: reactive aggression, passive suppression, silent resentment. You are describing fourth pattern: assertive boundary with stable self-worth. That is psychological healthy identity. Now I want to test your depth with one final scenario. Imagine someone calmly says, I don't respect your opinion. No insult, just dismantle. What happens inside you? Threat to identity, curiosity, boundary activity, activation, indifference. I genuinely want to know if there is anything that you have noticed and I didn't. Of course not. Boundary activation. It doesn't work like that. He's not messing with me. He's just saying his opinion. Saying opinion is not messing physically. So it is allowed. He's not crossing his limits. Okay. It doesn't work like that. He's not messing with me. He's just saying saying he's just saying has opinion. He has opinion. Opinion. Saying opinion is not messing physically. So it is not. It is allowed. Allowed. We are human, so indifference is likely to be. So I'm not complaining about it. I don't even complain about it. Why should I even think about it? If there is no indifference, what is the use of being individual? Okay, we are human, so indifference is likely to be. So I'm not. So I'm not complaining about it. I don't even complain about. Why should I even think about it? Think about if there is if there is no long if there is no indifference, what is the use of being individual? We would be behaving like robots if there is no individuality. Shit. T. That's a solid psychological grounding. Your response shows something important. You're separating disagreement, disrespect, boundary violation, ego threat. Most people mix these. You didn't. Now let's examine your curiosity answer carefully. Now let's examine your curiosity answer carefully. If someone says, I don't respect your opinion, and you respond with curiosity, that means your identity is not fused with your opinion. That is cognitive flexibility. Now let me sharpen something subtle. There are two kinds of curiosity. Secure curiosity, maybe I missed something, let's examine it. Defensive curiosity, explain yourself so I can counter you. Maybe I missed something, let's examine it. There are two kinds of curiosity. Which one would it realistically be for you? Maybe I missed something, let's examine it. I told it. Earlier answer that. I meant this. Fine. That's secure curiosity. Now let's verify something important. Secure curiosity only happens when your opinion is not your identity. Secure curiosity, your secure curiosity only happens when your opinion is not your identity. Being wrong does not equal being inferior. Learning does not threaten worth. That means your ego is flexible, not brittle. Now let's test stability one more level deeper. Imagine the person says, I don't respect your opinion, and honestly, you don't understand this topic. I don't respect your opinion, and honestly, you don't understand this topic. Now we add competence attack. Does your internal state says curious, slightly active but stable, defensive, irritated? Even mature people feel activation is intensity and recovery. I would be honest. Honestly, I want to know What did he come up with, and why did he say that? I want to know further before he makes that statement. Hello. Yeah, I would be. I would be. I would honestly. Okay. I would honestly. I would honestly. I want to know. I would honestly want to know. I would honestly want to know what did he come up come up with, and why did he says that? I want to know further before he makes that sentence. Makes Before he makes that statement. Further he makes that statement. Slightly activated but stable is correct answer. Correct human answer. Activation means nerve system notice a competence threat. Ego registered signals. Stability means identity didn't collapse. Curiosity remained available. Regulation stayed online. That combination integrated ego. Now here's the final refinement. If you stay curious and they actually show you something you didn't know, would you feel? If you stay curious and they actually show you something you didn't know, would you feel embarrassed, feel grateful, feel neutral, feel competitive? Because he allowed me to see and witness what I am lacking. Since I understood it, so it's not a much big deal. It's okay. I like to learn further. Yeah, there are three guys. If you're new here, make sure you watch this session from the beginning. We explored something fabulous in this session. That's the healthy possible combination. Grateful plus neutral. Let's analyze why that's powerful. Grateful. You see correction as growth, not humiliation. Neutral. Your worth didn't rise or fall based on being right or wrong. That means competence is improvable. Improvable. Worth is stable. Ego is flexible. Identity is not fragile. That's psychological integration. Now let's zoom out for 30 seconds and solidify everything you discovered today. Complete this sentence in your own words. Ego is not my enemy. It is, and maturity is. Keep in short and precise. This is your integration test. Okay. Ego is not my enemy. It is it is a part of me that allows me to see clearly. Maturity is my clarity because I'm no longer reacting from my reacting because my center is aligned with wisdom. Wisdom. Okay. Ego is not my enemy. It is a part of me that allows me to see clearly. Maturity is my clarity because I'm no longer reacting because my center is aligned with wisdom. Strong reflection. Ego is not my enemy. It is part of. Correct. Now refine it. Ego is identity structure that helps you function in reality. You say hi, hold presence, preferences, maintain boundaries, navigate status and roles. It is not wisdom itself. It is a tool. Now this sentence, maturity is my clarity because I'm no longer reacting. Good. But let's sharpen it. Maturity is not absence of reaction. It is a faster awareness plus regulated response. So I want you to restate it again with precision. Ego is, maturity is. Ego is not my enemy. Maturity is a regulation and regulated response and awareness. Oh yeah, is a faster maturity is a faster awareness plus regulated answers. Answers. Control response. Sorry, response. Good, you got it. The second part is perfectly in the type. The first one properly. You wrote ego is not my enemy. That's the statement, but we need a definition. Earlier you understood ego is identity structure, self-image, and that functions socially. So try completing it like this. Ego is the dash that helps me function in reality. Ego is the I that is the I that helps me function in reality. That's not spiritual bypassing, that's grounded psychologically. Now let me refine it one last mm, notch so that becomes right. Ego is ego is equal to organized self-concept that navigates reality. Ego is organized self-concept that navigates reality. Maturity, the ability to observe that self-concept without being controlled by it. Maturity, the ability to observe the ability to observe that self concept without being controlled by it. Now, I want you to do one last integration step. In one short paragraph, explain what is the difference between a fragile ego and an integrated ego. Keep it as simple and psychological. This is your final mastery check for today. Okay. What is the difference between a fragile ego and integrated ego? Okay. Fragile ego is something that it carries. Reactive mode, not away, coming from wisdom and awareness. That navigates through reality, reality because it's a mature, mature, because from maturity. Okay. We are we are not bodily identified, and also we are not creating any self image. It's coming from our awareness plus integrated response. So it's not coming from we are not creating any self image. It's coming from our awareness plus integrated response, centered, aligned, aligned with wisdom. Very strong attempt. Now let's refine it so it becomes psychologically sharp, not spiritual. You are good. Yeah, you said good thing, but we need precisions. First, small correction. Integration is does not mean no self image. Sorry. Wait, let's stop this here.